communication, how to improve it, how to have better negotiation skills, and overall your growth mindset in this process as an individual, as a leader, as a professional, as all the things. And I'm going to take a quick little peek at you. I still got my sleepy eyes. I'm coming back from Aruba. I'm coming back from getting a little sick with my son who had a little temperature due to the use of the AC and all the other stuff, maybe from the travel. We're not sure. Every time he goes to Aruba, coming towards the end, he gets a little sniffles and all that good stuff. Either way, I'm here. And I wanted to come in and tap in today. We do have our 3-day Courageous Communication, Courageous Conversations challenge that starts tonight at 8 p.m. But let's just talk conversations and communication, period. Some things I'm going to talk about today and share with you is just how to keep clear and direct in your communication, right? We're going to tap into some simple skills that you can work on within yourself to help you to stay clear and help you to stay direct when having conversations with others. A lot of this starts really with ourselves. I always say today is day one. We're going to tap into you, yourself, and how you show up in your communication, how you show up during these conversations. And most times it's so easy for us to blame it on others. Most times we don't realize that our message may come across very confusing to others. It may sound super clear in our heads, but to them, it may sound like a womp, 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 womp. You know, the Charlie Brown thing, how you start hearing the womp womps. So a lot of this comes back into first tapping into you and how are you showing up as the communicator. How clear are you being in your message that you want to send to the person, and how direct is it coming across? And direct does not mean it has to be mean, right? Direct doesn't mean that you got to come out there and be mean and it has to come off with this attitude, but it just has to be very clear to the process of what is the idea that you want to communicate to the other person. And I'm going to share some more about that a little further this evening when I really break that out into pieces. The next thing we're going to talk about is embracing our emotional intelligence during our conversation, during communication. Yes, communication does include your emotional intelligence. It does tap into your emotions and how are your emotions connected to your messaging. Now, a lot of us seem to think that emotions is totally disconnected from communication, but it's not. Right? So we do have to spend some time tapping into our emotions, tapping into how it is that we feel before stepping into having conversations or having communication with others. This comes in specifically when we are doing negotiations, when we're stepping into a negotiative space where we're trying to get that place in between where they are, where we are, and how we can fit someplace in between. Hi, I see you guys popping in. Say hi and let me know where you guys are coming from. So we're going to tap a little bit into embracing your emotional intelligence and how we're going to tap into our own emotions as we get clearer on our messaging and what it is that we want to get out there to be received. We're also going to talk about adaptability and flexibility in your communication styles. We all have a communication style. We all have a way that we communicate with others. As you guys are popping in, say hi. Hi, Alexander. Make sure you guys are subscribed. You're going to learn some amazing strategies in here in terms of communication and in terms of simply just uplifting and positive and a space that could elevate your mindset. But we're talking communication now, and communication has a lot to do with ourselves. This is our growth space. This is an area that we always want to consistently be working on. Before I go any further, I am an audiologist and speech language pathologist, and I have been experienced with coaching others and other CEOs over 10 years and over 20 years in the communication space. So I will be doing a 3-day Courageous Conversations Challenge starting from this evening, May 28th, 29th, 30th. It is available for replay if you're catching this afterwards. But it's a space where I'm helping individuals, leaders, professionals really tap into the space on how you can elevate and take your communication skills, strategies, abilities to the next level, right? Another part we're going to talk about is having a more open communication culture. Coming from a space where we're not closed mouth, where we're not keeping everything within, and we're finding times and spaces that we can have more open communication accessibility. And if we can't find it, what we got to do, guys? We got to create it. Because keeping things inside and keeping your thoughts inside and keeping your ideas and your experiences and all the things that you're keeping inside is not helpful to those who need it. So, we're going to talk about open communication culture. We're going to dive a little deeper into that. But for now, I do want you to know and not leave here without the concept of understanding that it all starts with you. If you want to have more open communication around you, you got to be the source. You got to be the leader in the process. You have to model if you want others to be able to emulate what you're modeling and or lean into what it is that you feel are ways to help it. There's a little bug in the car. Whoa, there we go. And the last part we're going to talk about for communications, especially for negotiation, is guess what? Nonverbal communication. That is one of my favorites. Nonverbal language and nonverbal communication. How can we use our tone? How can we use our body language? And how can we use both of them to enhance the things that we're trying to say and also what we're trying to receive? So these are some key things in how you are going to take your communication strategies and your effectiveness to others and how they will understand you, how they will relate with you, and then how you will grow as a person, right? So let me do a quick recap for those who may have missed it. Number one, we got to be clear and direct. Clear and direct in how we're communicated. So I'm going to share some in deeper strategies on how to get clear. If you pop into our Courageous Conversations live later on, it's free. There's a link somewhere. If not, reach out to me and I'll give you access for the link. But I'll dive a little deeper into the how with that. But at least understand you got to be clear and you got to be direct. Number two, tapping into the emotional intelligence of yourself. What do you need to work on with yourself? And how do you identify your emotions that are connected to the conversation that is at hand or that needs to happen? And how do we create more flexibility and adaptability in our messaging and in our communicative styles, right? Understanding what is our style, what is our easiest way of communicating, what feels good for us, what may work well for one person may not work well for another person. So you should know your style. And like I said, we'll talk more about that in our 3-day Courageous Conversations Challenge. See, say that 3 times fast. That we are starting May 28th, 29th, 30th. This is 2025 at time of recording at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. And it is a free challenge that I'm running just to help others in learning how to expand, elevate, and take your communication ability to the next level. Fourth thing we spoke about is creating that open communications culture. It's up to you, right? Say it to yourself, it's up to me. I can't expect open communication from others if I'm not modeling that, if I'm not leading with that, if I'm not showing them what does open communication look like. And I know it varies all over the world. In some parts of the world, it's going to look different. But there's some standard core things that can help to elevate more open communication spaces and experiences around you, and some strategies on how you can do that every single day. I'll dive deeper into that tonight. And the last one I spoke about, just giving you that quick recap, is that nonverbal. As an autism mom, as a person who's worked with individuals who have not had the capacity to have expansive language or verbal language capacity, we have leaned in a lot on nonverbals. And you will understand that actually the majority of language is really nonverbal. So tapping into that space, tapping into our tone, and understanding how our tone can impact our message when used in a slight variation. A slight variation of tone can impact the things that you are trying to say. A slight variation of tone can change what you are trying to say. Just that change of a tonality. So we'll talk some, like I said, we're going to talk some more about that in our 3-day Courageous Conversation space, but at least you're here, you're in that space where you want to grow in your communication, use these strategies or use these tips that I just shared right here, tap in, come back and get some more as I share them throughout the time, and take your communication ability to the next level. And let them know Dr. Ali sent you as you go out there and you communicate like a amazing boss. And not only just CEO boss, but just boss in your life and boss in your experience in life. Somebody's gonna tell me, I'm not a CEO. No, boss of your own life and boss of your intent and boss of your experience that you're having, your environment. Be that, right? So that you're able to get whatever it is that you have inside and be able to communicate it outside. It was nice popping in to see you guys once again. If you're interested in our 3-day Courageous Conversations Challenge, feel free to join us. I'll drop the link in the descriptor below. And looking forward to see what it is that you can, what and where and how that you can take your communication to the next level. If you enjoyed this, or if you have any specific questions about how to grow your communication, how to expand it, how to have more negotiation capacity when you're in certain spaces, then drop your questions below. Let me know what are your thoughts so that I can cover that in some of the things when I pop in and do my daily lives. It was great seeing you guys today. Do not forget to go out there and communicate. It's important. Stop keeping everything within. Nobody can read your mind. And stop trying to have people read your minds unless you can read mine. Have a great day, y'all. Catch you later.